And joining me now to discuss the disturbing trend of attacks up north is the President Association of Industrial Security and Safety Operators of Nigeria, Ona Ekhomu. Good to have you join us, Ona Ekhomu. This is not the first time we're seeing Boko Haram take territories in the country, especially in the northern part of the country. And those territories were reclaimed by the Nigerian army. So how are you reacting? How do you react to this current report we're getting about Boko Haram taking Geidam?
Thank you, Ms. Precious, for having me. I appreciate very much. Well, it's quite concerning because this was the thesis of my book, Boko Haram, my book titled Boko Haram, that this threat was metastasizing, that is, it was going around the country, and it was leaving its home in the northeast, and that it will show up even as far south as Lagos and other parts of the country because of what I saw, what they had been doing, and so on and so forth. So it's quite concerning. Now, when the governor of Niger State says that Boko Haram is hoisting flags there in that state, that is quite concerning because it means they've become operational there. Now, Niger State has had issues with Boko Haram. Now, remember, when they had the trials of Boko Haram members, when they had the court trials, that was in Kainji, in Niger State, where they had those court trials. So Boko Haram must have been pissed off a great deal by the fact that their members were put on trial in that state. So, but Boko Haram attacks. If you remember the St. Teresa Church attack many years ago, that Christmas Day attack where a Catholic church was hit, that was in Suleja, which is in Niger State. And if you remember the attack on the INEC during the voting 2011, that was also in Suleja in Niger State. If you remember the attack that was during the senatorial campaign in 2011 also, that was also in Suleja. So what I'm trying to establish here is that Boko Haram had been operational previously in another years ago in Niger State. But for them to come back now and start carrying out attacks, seizing territory, that is quite troubling because it means they are resurgent in the north central, well, in the northwest zone now.
A lot of security specialists and experts like yourself have continued to say, look, it's time for the federal government to seek help from foreign countries because it does look like the military is overstretched. When you look at the fact that they are dealing with banditry, they are dealing with insurgents, they are dealing with herders, farmers clashes. There's just a lot, that we've had to engage the military in at this point. And we've also lost a very key ally in the fight against Boko Haram, the former president of Chad, Idris Deby. And so people are saying perhaps it is time for the president to seek help from outside sources.
Well, I think that is a little bit premature because it's still a crisis that we can handle. But we need to be focused and we need to be determined. The fact that the federal government, let's take the banditry problem now, which is a more prevalent problem because it's gone around the country. Now Boko Haram is going the same route now, is leaving its enclave in the northeast and going around the country. So now, the fact that the federal government is finding it difficult to declare bandits and the killer headsmen, declare them terrorists, is very problematic. It means because every time we want to solve a problem, an important social problem, you must start from problem. You must admit first that you have a problem, because if you don't have it, if you say you have no problem, then who's going to join you? You can't call the Americans to come and fight your war when you don't believe that you do have a war yourself. When people are killed, you say, oh, some little boys are playing in the backyard. So that's not the way to go. So we need to first be serious about it. Now the president had done some things. He had brought in new service chiefs. He has changed the guy at the police formation, our police agency also. Now, what we want to do is let's put our money where our mouth is. If we say we want to defeat insurgency, and Nigerian military is totally capable of defeating insurgency, let us fund them properly. Let us recruit men aggressively. We are at war, so let us go on war footing. Let's start recruiting people. In fact, somebody told me a few days ago, he said, look, Dr. Ona, I say, why are schools still open right now when we are at war? We should go on war footing properly. So, you know, look at those areas where these kids are being kidnapped and slaughtered. Look at
and Dr. Ona, I just want to jump in here quickly because of the point you made, Dr. Ekhomu. Just allow me quickly jump in because of the point you made. One of the challenges here, because you talked about schools still being in session, and we've seen students being abducted by bandits, and one of the challenges here is not just that we're losing security agents rather, which we're losing property, we're losing lives, but this is also creating a humanitarian crisis, because we're now having more people fleeing their homes into IDP camps. Now, is it a time for the federal government or the government at the center to say, look, how much more can we enable states in terms of having a structure, with security structure within the states that allows them to deal with some of these issues locally, having a local response to some of these issues?
Yes, thank you. That's a brilliant question. I think we have to devolve the security arrangement in the country. That is that is dole. We must devolve the security arrangement in the country, because what is happening right now, and I've said this, I've tried to sell this idea that, look, let the GSF or GSAs, that is government security forces or government security agencies, let them be the rapid response. Let them be the people to respond to calls for service, CFS, that's what we call it in our business. When citizens are distressed, they call for service, let them respond. But meanwhile, on ground, you must have a hunter system. Now, it tickles me every time I read the paper, they say, oh, people were kidnapped in Oyo State, hunters are in search of them. People were kidnapped in Oyo State, Amotekun is going after them. That is the devolution of the security arrangement. So the government security forces will now add more firepower, more impetus to the capabilities of these local security arrangements that we have. But the fact that we have given them the impression that you guys don't count, you are not part of the security architecture, that's why they are sitting back and looking. But right now, with the way things are, we must arrest this drift. We must stop this carnage. It's too much. It must be stopped. And I think we need to tweak our security architecture so that it will admit more hands, and then we need to empower the security organizations like the military to do what it needs to do. And we must be ruthless at this time. Let me quote Mr. President. He said the military must let's really be ruthless with them, not pampering them the way we are doing right now.
President, Association of Industrial Security and Safety Operators of Nigeria, Dr. Ona Ekhomu, thanks for talking to us.